It's track reviews.
Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well, and it is time for a track review where I give my opinion on a brand new song. 2020 is not even a full entire month old yet, and the year has already been full of surprises. One of the latest being Eminem, the legend, apparently the top-selling
Male.
artist of the 2010s. Of course, the surprise that I'm referring to is Eminem's new album. He dropped a new entire whole record, Music to Be Murdered By, just last night. So I guess y'all are getting an Eminem review really soon, a full album review. But first, I'm going to be taking on and talking about his new music video and track from this record, Darkness. Let's see what Eminem is saying, doing, sounding like on this new cut, Darkness. Ba-bam. Okay, so there's the track right there. I will say just off the bat that I liked that. I thought that was pretty good. I think that the messaging of this song, the fact that it is so toned down and so mellow, and that it is just kind of centered around a political message that is naturally going to turn some people off of this track or make people less excited about this track. It's not like a banger. It's not one where Eminem is getting super flashy lyrically or going hard or anything like that. But personally, I enjoyed not just the messaging and what Eminem was trying to achieve with the track, but the sound of the cut wasn't bad either. I think his flow, his delivery was nicely measured on this one, wasn't too over the top, wasn't too obnoxious or anything like that. I liked the instrumental on here, even though it was a tad bit generic. I thought that the way the trap percussion as well as the moody piano on the beat mixed pretty nicely, and the somewhat quiet, haunting background vocal that I'm pretty sure is just an interpolation of Hello Darkness, my old friend from Simon and Garfunkel. Now, if you haven't already caught word of what this song is about, it's essentially a gun control oriented track that centers mostly around the infamous Mandalay Bay shooting that happened down in Las Vegas, I think over a year ago at this point. It's hard to tell because honestly, and I'm not trying to misinform anyone, I think this is honestly just important to express this because we are at a point now where the shootings are so often, they are such a normal occurrence that it's difficult to just off of memory chronologically place when they happen. Eminem tries to detail the mindset of the shooter, though I haven't done enough research into the shooter himself to tell you how much Eminem is or isn't embellishing in this story just for the sake of entertainment. But it seems like he's pretty measured with all of that stuff and just basically tries to depict him as being wigged out on pills, on alcohol, and obviously just armed to the teeth. Eminem is pretty subtle with the message and with where the narrative is going toward the beginning of the track, and almost puts some parallels between himself and his own life experience and the shooter, because at the start of the song, with the references that he makes to performing and the drug use and the pills, what we know of Eminem's past with addiction, it's almost as if he's putting himself in the shooter's shoes and leading the audience to think that he's rapping about himself, almost like in another character where he's murdering or killing or doing something crazy, which Eminem has done before in the past, but this is much different. I feel like he's trying to take a piece of real life here, and even though the shooter in this instance was obviously making a very awful and the worst possible decision one could make to kill others, kill innocent people, in a weird way, I think Eminem is trying to communicate to the audience that I don't think this guy is that much different than me. I have problems with substances. I have had issues in the past where I'm mentally struggling with my own demons, with my own rash decision making, and I could have easily been in a place, or anybody else who suffers from these problems could easily be in a place where they could access high-powered firearms, and as a result of their mental issues, their addiction issues, holes, cracks, loopholes in the system where people who suffer from these problems can so easily get a hold of so much weaponry. Of course, a shooting, of course, an occurrence like this is going to happen. You're almost guaranteeing it to be the case, which honestly I think is a very smart point in this track. It's not a point I've heard many people in the media make, and it's definitely not a point that I would assume someone like Eminem would make, frankly. Now, moving beyond that point and just to the narrative and the way that it unfolds, with more allusions to performing and music, which I think, again, sort of creates this very weird parallel of worlds between the shooter and between Eminem. That one line where he says, "You can't murder a show that nobody's at," really stuck out to me as one of many lines on this track that I thought were pretty clever and not too out there or in bad taste or left field, to the point where it takes away from the seriousness of the narrative, the seriousness of the message, and the seriousness and gravity of the tragedy that this whole thing is based on. I mean, the narrative of the track unfolds pretty simply, with the shooter being in a very isolated place, going through his mental issues, his emotional issues, his demons, the alcohol, the drugs, the actual shooting occurring. But through this simplicity, Eminem is still able to deliver some compelling details and some complex thoughts. And honestly, it's kind of refreshing to hear him on a track where he sounds so genuinely heartfelt and also concerned. Look, again, all in all, and it doesn't just have to do with the message, I think sonically and instrumentally, this is one of his better tracks in a while, as stripped back and as skeletal as it is. I'm just going to say once more that I like this. It's certainly better than nearly anything off of his past two records. And with this, I guess I'm pretty excited to listen to the rest of Music to Be Murdered By. Can't say I expect the rest of the LP to be just like this, but this is certainly off to a good start. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Eminem, forever.